So I had quite the day yesterday. If you don't know, here's a link to the description of yesterday's video, because in today's video, I'm going to be answering the biggest question that was left unanswered at the end of yesterday's video. It got crazy, y'all. So, if you're not familiar, yesterday I made a video about this gentleman. His name is the Big Homie CC. And he said something on a podcast called No Jumper that was quite fascinating and very relevant to the UFO topic. So here's just a short clip to remind you of yesterday's video, but I recommend going and checking out yesterday's video to get the full context. All right. So again, here's a short clip so we can catch up.
One day I get an email. I had a Proton Mail account. Are you familiar with Proton Mail?
Oh, that's like an anonymous one for like drug dealers and shit, right?
Okay, so it's an encrypted email.
Okay, yeah. I got a little too specific. But I've heard of it over the years, yeah.
Okay. I get an email from a guy. This is 2012. He wanted to meet me at a place called Lux Bar. He said he had a job for me. Said the job was paying $52,000 for 5 days. Up front, you get the entire payment. Right?
That's a good deal.
Yeah, okay.
Also, why the f would they pay you up front?
Listen to this. I meet up with the guy. He shows me a ID from the Pentagon.
Oh.
He tells me that he does not trust certain people that he works with, and that he needs me to keep him safe until he can testify in front of Congress.
Oh, wow.
Right? So then he says, Keith, I want you to look at this. Red flag off top, because how do you know my name? I never told you my name. Okay. He could have heard from somebody else, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. He shows me some pictures. He said, what does this look like to you? I'm like, man, it looks like a desert of some sort. You know, I see like some trucks. You feel me? He says, okay, so this is like a truck to you? Or some type of plow truck, something like that? He says, well, according to these measurements, this truck is 2 miles long. So I'm like, what? Okay. He asked me some more questions, showed me some more stuff. Another one was like looked like a protractor or something.
A 2 mile long truck?
That's what he said.
Very confusing.
All right. So I say, okay, so what am I looking at? He says, these pictures are on the surface of the moon. He say, my job is to scrub these pictures to make them available to get released to the public.
Oh, that's smart.
You know who Luis Elizondo is?
No.
Oh.
Who's that?
Luis Elizondo is a former CIA operative who just testified. Him and his co-workers are testifying in front of Congress about the same shit I'm just telling you about.
Now, there you see, the Big Homie is talking about being approached in 2012, right, to protect this whistleblower who was going to testify, right, about the moon surface, moon photos, something with the moon, right? Well, at the end of yesterday's video, we didn't know who he was talking about. But that all changed because the Big Homie decided to make himself known. He reached out to me on Twitter. As far as I know, the Big Homie has agreed to come on the show. I'll keep y'all updated on when that's going to happen. But he did come into our YouTube comment section and say who it is. All right. So, but before I get to that, let's break down some of the misinformation that happened after my video came out yesterday. All right. Now, there's this gentleman that goes by Cosmic Surplus or something like that, who put out this video and completely lied about what the video said. And Luis Elizondo actually responded. LOL. Never spoke to the dude, but got to give props to a clever imagination. I actually thought this was a joke until some folks said some people were taking this seriously. For the record, this never happened, but it is funny. Now, you can tell from this short tweet that Luis Elizondo is saying he's never met the Big Homie. Well, I'm not going to reveal the DMs, but in my conversation with the Big Homie privately, He says he has met Luis Elizondo. So I don't know. That's why I would love to get the big homie on to be able to talk, right? Like I said in my DM to him, or like I said in my tweet to him on Twitter or X, right? Let's break UFO Twitter, right? We can have a conversation. That'll be pretty cool. So, right? Because he told me a lot of other things in the DMs. Things I'm not going to reveal, but like him to say it for himself. So, let's get to exactly who the big homie named, right? Because he came in again into our YouTube comment section yesterday for my video, and he gave the last name of who he was talking about. And the last name is Wolf. L-O, what the? W-O-L-F-E. Specifically, Karl Wolf. K-A-R-L. Wolf, right? And I found some stuff on him, right? Apparently, he came out at a 2001 Dr. Stephen Greer press club event, right? And here's a short clip from that.
Good morning. My name is Karl Wolf, and I was a precision electronics photographic repairman with a top secret crypto clearance in the United States Air Force. I was stationed at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia. In 1965, in mid-1965, I was loaned to the Lunar Orbiter Project at NASA on Langley Field. Dr. Colley was in charge of that project. They had problems with a piece of electronic equipment that was bottlenecking their production of photographs. I went to the facility, and when I walked into the facility, there were scientists from all over the world. I was stunned, actually, to see people at a NASA project from all over the world. It didn't make any sense to me initially. I was taken into the laboratory where the equipment was malfunctioning. I couldn't repair it in the dark. I asked to have it removed. Airman second class was in the dark room at that time. I was also an airman second class. I was interested in how the whole process functioned, how the data got from the lunar orbiter to the laboratory. I asked the young man if he described the process to me. He did. About 30 minutes into the process, he said to me, in a very distressed way, by the way, we've discovered a base on the backside of the moon. And then he proceeded to put photographs down in front of me, and clearly in these photographs were structures, mushroom-shaped buildings, spherical buildings, and towers. And at that point, I was very concerned because I knew we were working on compartmentalized security. He had breached security, and I was actually frightened at that moment. And I did not question him any further. And a few moments later, someone did come into the room. I worked there for 3 more days, and I remember going home and naively thinking, I can't wait to hear about this on the evening news. And here it is, more than 30 years later, and I hope we hear about it tonight. And I will testify under oath before Congress that what I'm saying is the truth.
Now, he also did a short interview with Dr. Stephen Greer many years later. Here's another short clip from that.
Well, some of the shapes, as I said, some of the buildings were very tall, thin structures. I don't know how tall they were, but they must be very tall.
Did you see profile shots of them?
I
or
saw
angular shots with
they
shadows?
were angular shots with shadows. There were spherical and domed buildings, that were very large. They must be, half a mile in scale, because they were in relationship to the scale of the photograph. They stood out very clearly. They were large objects. I would love to have looked at it longer. I would have loved to have had copies. I would love to have, said more about it or discussed it more, but I knew I couldn't.
And as you can tell, Karl thinks that he has seen pictures of alien structures on the moon, right? Because back in the late 60s, we went to the moon. We're the only people to set foot on the moon, Americans, right? What's that famous clip from Neil Armstrong?
It's One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Yeah, that one. Giant leap for mankind. So, I don't know, right? This is kind of crazy. But another thing that I found interesting is in the clip with the big homie on No Jumper, he says that that person is still alive.
And, this guy testified in front of Congress.
And is he still alive?
Yep.
But actually, Carl Wolf died in 2018 in a bicycling accident. Former U.S. Air Force photo technician Carl Wolf, who claimed that he saw secret NASA photos of alien structure on the surface of the moon, has died at the age of 74. According to Fox News, the famous UFO whistleblower died in a bicycle accident in Lansing, New York, where he was fatally hit by a tractor trailer. Wolf was rushed to a nearby hospital, but he later died from the injuries. Wolf shot to fame in 2001 when he alleged that the U.S. Space Agency is intentionally covering up the existence of alien structure on the dark side of the moon. The former airman made his controversial claims at an event in Washington, D.C., organized by Stephen Greer, a ufologist who founded the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence and the Disclosure Project, which calls for the disclosure of allegedly secret UFO information. So, I don't know. Again, that's why I would love to talk to the big homie CC, because there are some discrepancies to the story and what's happening, right? Because also in this interview, he mentioned that this person reached out in 2012 on his Proton email account.
One day, I get an email. I had a Proton Mail account. Are you familiar with Proton Mail?
Oh, that's like an anonymous one for like drug dealers and shit, right?
Okay, so it's an encrypted email.
Okay, yeah. I got a little too specific. But I've heard of it over the years, yeah.
Okay. I get an email from a guy. This is 2012. He wanted to meet me at a place called Lux Bar.
But Proton Email wasn't launched until May of 2014, right? So, granted, it's only a couple years off, but maybe we can get some clarification there, right? Because that would be good to know, right? I think those dates do matter. So, again, it would be great to get the big homie on so we could clear this up. We're supposed to. That's what we've DM'd each other. He wants to come on the show. So hopefully we can make that happen. And I will keep you guys updated. But I wanted y'all to see, the updates on this, because this was quite a day yesterday, right? And now we know who he's talking about, Carl Wolf. And Carl Wolf did perish, right? Many years later. Granted, it was ruled an accident, but how many times have we heard that? Right? I'm just saying allegedly. I don't know. Was there something funny there? Who knows? They never released the name of the driver who hit him with this tractor trailer, right? So, I don't know. It's very interesting. But why is the big homie saying it came from a Proton account 2 years before Proton was ever launched? And why is he saying this guy is still alive when he's clearly not? And, right, Luis Elizondo is saying he's never spoken to this guy. And the big homie saying he has. So, I don't know. Be great to get some answers. Again, big fan of the homie CC. I hope that works out and he's able to come on the show so we can clarify this. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Carl Wolf, right, according to the big CC, approached him, right, circa 2012, about testifying before Congress, and then he needed to be protected because he didn't trust the people around him, right? I'm just telling you, it's a fascinating story. Alien structures on the moon. All right, y'all. We'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Hopefully it's an interview with the big homie CC. All right. We'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Remember, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace!
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep.